This Kettleland Living segment is sponsored by Axiom Chiropractic and Neuropathy, whose focus is helping individuals with numb, painful feet and weak legs get their strength and balance back, the true meaning of health.
Today we're shedding light on a hidden issue that affects over 20 million Americans, peripheral neuropathy.
This nerve condition often leaves individuals with numb feet, a symptom that can dangerously impair their ability to drive. Alarmingly, many people are silently struggling because they fear losing their driving privileges.
Dr. Justin Wubin with Axiom Chiropractic is here to discuss the risks, offer solutions, and provide free screenings to ensure that no one has to navigate this challenge alone.
Stay tuned as we dive deeper into how neuropathy can impact driving safety and what can be done about it. Welcome.
Awesome. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Driving, it is one of those things, I think, to a lot of people, it's that classic sign of maybe aging or loss of independence that they just want to hang on to.
It's huge.
But neuropathy, I mean, it can really impact.
So when we started diving into peripheral neuropathy, and I guarantee everyone's like hearing more and more about it, but with peripheral neuropathy, again, it's where there's nerve damage in the hands, but typically in the feet. And you might be getting numbness, tingling, pins, needles, or notice balance issues. And so when we started really diving into a lot of patients, and I say, how is this really affecting your life? A lot of people will sheepishly say, because no one really wants to say this part, but they go, I can't feel the pedals. And if the husband and wife are sitting there and they go, you can't feel the pedals? Are you serious?
Yeah.
But if you think about it too, as people age, if there's people losing their independence of driving, we've had patients who have crashed into buildings. If a ball goes across the street or a young child, they don't have the reaction time because the brain's not firing down to the feet. And so they're just really afraid to tell anybody that I can't feel my feet. Again, a lot of men, but women too, but you're independent man, you've been driven the whole time. And so you want to keep your independence, but that fear of telling someone my feet are numb or I can't feel the pedals, they don't know who to tell, they don't know who to fix. And eventually it's that point where you can't feel your feet, you can't not just drive, eventually you won't be able to walk. And that's a really, really big challenge.
Because obviously you wouldn't be able to tell which was the brake, which was the gas, and that causes accidents? Is
Yes.
this something that's being...
Even into buildings, you've said.
Yeah, we've had patients run into buildings. You'll see different ones. Again, we have different groups that we mentor, different other chiropractors too, on how to help. But when you start talking collectively as different clinicians, they're like, yep, there's a patient who drove through Starbucks, or they drove through a different facility, or they drove through a different businesses because they couldn't get to the pedal fast enough. Well, again, that's the whole thing, is when your feet are numb or they're not feeling, they'll push the wrong pedal.
What are some signs that this might be happening to them?
So with peripheral neuropathy, there's 4 stages. Stages kind of like cancer. There's stages 1, 2, 3, 4. But some people will typically start with more of the stage 1. They're like, a little numbness or tingling, and it comes and goes. And then it starts kind of the toes, and it goes to the ball of the foot. And they go, typically, no big deal. Maybe I'm getting old, or maybe I'm just having foot pain. But when it starts walking up, you get numbness past the ankles. That's when you really start noticing balance issues. But also you get to that point, if you think about your ankle, it has a lot of it's called proprioceptors, but there's areas of the nerve that sense where your foot is. Once those go numb, then you're almost like pushing on a numb stump. So it's a progressive thing. It's not like an overnight thing. And that's why it's so challenging, because people just get in the car every single day.
And when you deal with something that's progressive like that, it's maybe easier to ignore or put in the back of your mind. And I think we all put everything, we don't want to deal a lot of times with a potentially challenging medical situation. We hear that every day. People who knew they had symptoms for any kind of thing, and they just try to not think about it.
Yeah, there's a few different reasons why. Some it's pride, but some it's there's a fear. I don't want to know something's wrong, or who do I go to, or what might they do, and then maybe it will go away. The 5 most dangerous words, again, we just keep pushing and pushing. Eventually it gets to the point where someone goes, I can't walk anymore. I can't move. And then they're like, now what do I do? And then they go and they're told, well, nothing can be done.
Can exercise help with this? Is that a step? Is that part of it?
It's a piece of the puzzle. There's about 64 different things that need to be done to help ensure the health of the nervous system. There's probably more, but the main thing is exercise is phenomenal. If you think about it from a cardiovascular standpoint, if our nerves are not getting blood flow down there, if you think about exercise, it's called oxygenated blood. When you get, the body moving and you're actually getting oxygen in your system, but it's going bump, 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 and you push it long enough, it'll get down to the feet. But If there are other reasons why these nerves and vessels aren't working, that's what you got to figure out. And there are ways to actually increase it to make faster, because if you are doing exercises and your feet are still numb, there's other underlying issues that might be going on.
Okay, so for somebody watching at home right now that is identifying with this,
Yeah.
that they probably shouldn't be driving, or that someone in their life shouldn't be, is it too late for them? Can something be done?
Great question. And so what we do is a free nerve damage screening, because we want to figure out what stage or phase, number one, do you have it? Number two, what stage or phase are you in? But the fun part is what people are told that it can't turn around, that's not true. We had a patient, his name is Elmer. Anyways, he's from Iowa, a long ways away. I love this man, but when he first came in, he was over 90 years old, but he couldn't drive because he couldn't feel his feet. And his kids, we all understood what was going on, so his kids were driving to his appointment, and on his 90th, we do a 90-day re-exam. He drove on his 90-day re-exam and could feel the pedals.
Huh. That's amazing.
I can almost see you get kind of emotional about it, because it's like life-changing to people.
Yeah.
Right.
You get patients, they cry. We get staff that cry, and I do too sometimes. You know, I'm a man, I'm not supposed to cry, whatever. but it's real. Like when you realize, when someone says, I think about killing myself, I'm thinking about like, what's the point, and they get frustrated and fearful. Yeah, it is. It gets you up.
Persistent pain can really set a person back, and so that's definitely very, very true. So let me ask this: is nutrition a role at all?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. And so there's pieces of the puzzle, but sometimes what people do is they go, but I'm eating pretty good, or I am exercising, or I tried it and it didn't work. Well, it's kind of like if you think of a combination on a padlock. And let's say there's 5 different things, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different numbers, but I put 2. Well, what was the right sequence? Did you do it consistent? What else was missing? Are there, I think we've talked about like autoimmune things in the past. What medications, cumulative things, traumas, and that's why we sit down, because no 2 patients are the same. But absolutely, nutrition, movement. But if someone's still not getting results, they're missing 1 or 2 little things to unlock it.
And part of it is potentially the treatment that you offer for the neuropathy, which is in addition to the other parts of the sequence.
Absolutely. And as a chiropractor, again, typically people think about low back pain and headaches. And so what we do is we like to focus specifically on the legs, the feet. Like that's just an area that we really focus on. Yeah, there's some issues with low back pain or headaches, but when people come to us, it's kind of like, again, just from a focus, you know, in the medical model, there's a general practitioner and then there's a podiatrist or different areas of focus. A lot of our training and expertise, everything we've really gone down to is peripheral neuropathies, so we can stay really focused, know all the pain points, the challenges, what to predict, give realistic expectations. And when you tie it together, patients go, that makes sense. How come no one's ever told me before? And really that's why we come on the news or tell people why we do what we do.
Well, I mean, really, it's something that even 10 years ago,
Right.
people really thought there was nothing you could do. So
Yeah.
we thank you very much for
Awesome.
coming and sharing.
Thanks for having us.
At Axiom Chiropractic and Neuropathy, their mission is to prevent falls and decrease pain and numbness in the legs and feet.
If you're struggling with numb or painful legs or feet, you need to call today before it continues to get worse. Pick up the phone and call right now at 605-215-0323 or learn more at numbfootpain.com. You don't have to suffer anymore. Call today.
This Kettleland Living segment has been sponsored by Axiom Chiropractic and Neuropathy, whose focus is helping individuals with numb, painful feet and weak legs get their strength and balance back, the true meaning of health.